Today's episode is brought to you by Skillshare. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Bad Flashes. Today's episode was 6 years in the making. I have never ever thought of something for so long in my entire life. Well, there is the constant need of approval that I've been seeking, but that doesn't count. Today we're gonna be talking about one of the coolest films of all time. And no, I am not talking about Lomochrome Turquoise. Rest in peace. No, today I'm talking about the one and the only Aerochrome. That perfectly pink color reversal infrared film that's harder to find than 5 shots deep and looking for Waldo. Where is he? No one knows. And there's no other place more suited for Aerochrome than Yosemite. Fact. So recently, Lauren and I decided to take a trip up to Yosemite to see her mom. Not mom, mum. She's English. I've never been to Yosemite before, so wow, I'm excited. So once I knew we were about to leave, I started packing my cameras and my film. And well, you know I can't just take one camera because that's ridiculous. So I ended up packing a few. I even managed to sneak in my 4x5 camera. But let's hold off on that one for another episode. Now, back in 2015, Jason tipped me off to this mythical film sold by FPP for $25 a pop. But 2015 Caleb was pretty dumb. I guess so is 2021 Caleb. I decided to only pick up 2 rolls of this stuff. And if I was smarter, I would have picked up more. But I'm not, so I didn't. When I ended up getting the film in, I decided to put them in the fridge and wait for the perfect time to shoot this film. And cut to 6 years later. I also decided to take my GW690 with me. I had a roll of film in there, and I kind of wanted to use it up. As we were getting closer to her mom's place, we stopped off in this little town just as sunset was upon us. This town had the cutest little general store. Lauren used to go here and get ice cream as a little girl. There was also this old saloon-looking hotel that has since been decommissioned. It looked like it was in perfect condition. It's really sad that it can't be used any longer. Her mom's property was awesome. She lived in a little house on top of a hill, and there was wild turkeys roaming around everywhere. Since this place was super remote, we actually rented an RV to stay on the property. It was kind of like camping, but with a heater.
I'm manually counting 30 seconds in my head, and now it's almost done. Gotta get that bloom, you know, even out in the wilderness. Yeah, that's good.
But I was so excited, I almost couldn't sleep. I was so pumped to start shooting Aerochrome. So that next day, we packed the car and headed towards my destiny. The other thing you should know about this film is that if you ever get your hands on it, you're gonna wanna use a yellow number 12 filter to get the colors that you expect. Now, there are some documentations out there that say you can use a yellow, a red, a green filter to get different effects as well. So naturally, I had to try those. Obviously, I needed to shoot this Aerochrome in my M6. The other thing about Aerochrome is that you don't wanna load it in direct sunlight. And you shouldn't use a camera that has any sensors inside that read the DX code. It might fog the image.
Yellow number 12.
Sounds like a food coloring.
Yeah.
Now, I actually haven't seen many images taken on infrared film in Yosemite, a few here or there, so I kind of felt like I was sitting on a special moment. And if I wasn't, can you just give it to me? Lauren and I decided to do this hike that she used to with her family when she was younger. It would lead us towards a waterfall. But let me just say, this waterfall was firsthand proof that this planet is warming up. The waterfall was like a leaky faucet and not a gushing shower head. And now, people can hang out on the rocks right underneath it. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
There is a dude up there.
Nonetheless, the rest of the hike was beautiful. Now, if you don't know what Aerochrome is, don't worry, you're not alone. It's kind of a niche film in the first place. Aerochrome is a color-positive infrared film. There are some fantastic videos about Aerochrome's history already, so I'll link those below. But not to sound repetitive, here's a TLDR version. It was developed by Kodak to help find and locate enemies in camouflage. Basically, Aerochrome renders the light bouncing off the chloroplast in vegetation and makes those colors pop harder than Mentos and Coke. Since all man-made materials or non-organic life don't operate on the same spectrum, they don't have the same color pops as the plants do. This hat isn't organic, so it shouldn't pop. So naturally, Yosemite's landscapes are going to look amazing on Aerochrome. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online community that can offer you a menagerie of different classes that can help open up your mind to new creative endeavors. And they have tons to choose from. Recently, I've been into darkroom printing, but I didn't know how to adjust the contrast in my final prints. So I took a class from Johan about split grade printing. It only took me 30 minutes, and now I can make better creative decisions in my final prints. And the great thing is that there were no ads, so my creative juices kept flowing. For the first 1,000 people who use the link in the description below will receive a 1-month trial to Skillshare's premium membership. So what are you waiting for? Let's go learn some stuff together. Okay, now back to Aerochrome.
I don't know if I'm feeling it either.
It kind of goes without saying, Yosemite is amazing. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world that I have ever seen. All the amazing rock formations surrounded by towering trees. This place is spectacular.
Got your orange on?
That smells nice.
Like I said earlier, I wanted to try a few different filters with this film. For the most part, I stuck with the yellow number 12 filter because I didn't want to mess these shots up. I also did use the orange filter for a few of the shots. I really couldn't see a difference between the yellow and orange filters in the final image. But when looking back at the slides, you can tell a difference in color. The yellow filter produces more purple tones, and the orange filter is more of a pinkish tone. And at the end of the day, it's whatever you prefer. The red and green filters are kind of a different story. I decided to take the same half-dome image on an orange, a red, and a green filter, just to see what the differences were. The green filter just made everything blue.
Green.
I don't suggest using that filter.
Okay. Red filter.
Now, when I looked at the image while using the red filter, I was slightly disappointed. It was all overexposed, but I think it was my fault for overcompensating the exposure while using that filter. If you can see, the trees are still red, which makes me think if I exposed properly, it actually would have been a usable shot. Next time I won't do that.
Family-friendly show.
On the way out of Yosemite, the light was hitting this canyon perfectly. I had to get out and spend the rest of my roll there. Now, I did do something that's maybe unholy. I took 3 separate images and stitched them together in the computer. I know, it's not an X-Pan, but I really liked the photo, and I printed it, because it's awesome. So, I don't care. It's cool. Overall, I wish I could have spent more time in Yosemite. Unfortunately, we only had a few hours there. I feel like I barely saw anything. I still really want to climb Half Dome. That place is wonderfully grand. I'm so glad I shot the infrared film there. The first choice might have been Ektar or Portra, but I feel like the use of Aerochrome here in Yosemite gave an over-photographed Half Dome new life. But don't get me wrong, I'm totally coming back to shoot Ektar. Honestly, looking back at these photos, it's really hard to pick a favorite. I'd have to say maybe the pano that I created because, well, it's a different style. But other than that, they all just hit the mark for me. Maybe it's Aerochrome, maybe it's me. No, I doubt it. It's Aerochrome. My buddy Brian actually sent me a few rolls of this infrared film a while back. I'm super excited to shoot this film. I just hope it doesn't take me another 6 years to find a subject worthy of infrared film. Theoretically, Kodak is coming out with a new film this year, but I don't think I believe it. But if they do pull that magic rabbit out of the hat, I hope it's Aerochrome. Well, that'll do it for this episode. Join me next time where we go bigger. Much, much bigger.